Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
What up? Going with Jeff Lavecchio, Phil Lavecchio. What up for today's Friday Faceoff? What's up, everybody? Friday Faceoff here today. We're going to pick a topic that we think is a lot of fun to talk about, sometimes controversial, sometimes not so much. But guys, Jeffrey Lavecchio inspired me when I opened up my Instagram app today. He inspired me by opening up my Instagram app today, and the guy just spits fire. He doesn't have 110,000 followers for no reason, guys. Partly because his wife probably showed him, and she's awesome. But, you know, he spits out some good information every now and again. But I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this Instagram IG post, spitting fire from the dad game man himself, Jeffrey J. Lavecchio, the dad gang. And this is really cool. This is really, really cool, really, really relevant for a lot of people out there, particularly people who are not playing at the levels that they wanted to play anymore, some of us older folk. So I'm going to shut up and stop rambling and just read the damn post so we can get to talking about it here. Okay, Jeff Lavecchio, you have to find a new locker room. You have to find a new locker room. I've known so many athletes that retire from playing high-level sports, even college sports, that really struggle when the game ends for them. I think there are quite a few different reasons for this. Lack of a singular focus that you're passionate about. They've never known anything else, going from extremely vigorous exercise daily to much less, which affects so many different things in the brain and body, and the list goes on and on. But there's one thing that I think is often overlooked in this situation, and that's losing the locker room in all caps. As a team sport athlete, your entire life revolved around coming together as a team, a singular unit, a family. Daily battles with your brothers to make each other better and the team as a whole better. Pre-game meals, post-game sellies, holding each other accountable to a standard, having each other's backs, knowing an entire team has your back. The list can go on forever. What you get from the locker room doesn't just fall into your lap in the real world. You have to go out and actively find it or create your own. It doesn't matter what brings you your new locker room, but the sooner you get that back in your life, the easier that transition will be. It could be a gym that has a similar culture to the teams that you've played on, or it could be joining a bowling league, a company that cares and invests into its culture, maybe even creating your own. I'm lucky because my post-career has literally given me this every single day since my last game, but others aren't as fortunate. I can't imagine where I'd be if I would have lost that while shedding one life and moving on to another. If you know an athlete struggling to make that transition out of sports and into the real world, give them this advice. Find your tribe. Find a culture that your old athlete self resonates with. The sooner you find your new locker room, the easier your transition will be. GMBM Gumbum. So Vex, man, that's just I resonate so much with that. And I can tell stories for days about, the transition to life outside of, I shouldn't say outside of hockey, because I've never been outside of hockey, but the life after playing hockey at those levels. I guess my first question to you, man, is like, what was the inspiration to write that post? Was it an event that happened? Was it a conversation with a buddy or a former teammate? Like what inspired you to write that such good post that you put out there this morning?
Well, the video with it, Kylie, I work a lot in the off season where I don't get to get home and see my wife and my daughter during the day. So Kylie comes up here at least 3 or 4 times a week. Some days she'll come up twice in a day just for 10 minutes so I can hug and kiss them and see Sophie or stuff like that. And she brought Sophie in yesterday, and Travis Turnbull, who's been on the podcast, he's my oldest client, both age-wise, and he's been with me his entire 18-year pro career, going into his 18th year here. And she just sent me a video after she left of just me and Travis and Sophie just sitting there talking. And, Travis is always so excited to see Sophie whenever, Kylie brings her up when it's the pro groups session. And I was just watching the video, and Travis is getting to the end of his career, and he retired a little bit last year. For probably, I think he retired, And then around like December, he decided, you know what, I think I'm going to go back and play again. I got a team who's interested in signing me, and they're going to bring me in. And I know that he was having a hard time transitioning from playing for 16 years and then going into a new field. And he moved away from St. Louis. So he was living down in like Floribama area on kind of the line between Florida and Alabama. And he was doing mortgage sales. And I know it was tough for him. One, he no longer had the game that he played professionally for 16 years on top of his whole childhood. And then two, he was away from all of his friends, family, things like that. So he didn't have a community, and I could tell it was hard for him. And so that video just kind of reminded me of that. And then seeing how happy he is to be in the gym with the boys. And he's moved back to St. Louis, and he's still playing. He signed again for next year, and he's going into his 18th year pro, like I said. And then it just got me watching that video, just got me thinking about all the teammates that I played with who I know have struggled, who I've personally had conversations with, and guys who I played with will reach out to me and be like, what did you do? How did you start your business? How did you get into that? How did you grow it to where it's at now? And they're struggling, and they don't like what they're going into. And just like, it's hard. And then I personally know guys who played with guys in the NHL who made 50 million, 60 million, 70 million. They don't need to ever work again a day in their life if they don't want to. And they're going through those things too. And, maybe that turns them to drinking alcohol too much and get into trouble and things like that. And it's because they don't have that locker room. They don't have, that thing that's bringing them for their purpose every day, and people holding them accountable, and people that they can push, people that can push them. And I think about this a lot, and I hear about it a lot from athletes. And so when I saw that video that Kylie sent me that I looked at when I opened up my phone after my day was done yesterday, that's all I could think about. So I wrote that in hopes that it would help some of the athletes that follow me.
It's awesome, man. And it's so relevant, dude. So relevant. And I think about, two words that won't shock our listeners or you that I've been really thinking about a lot and trying to talk about a lot. And that's community and connection. And for so many different ways. I mean, you talk about wanting to be an elite team, you have to have a sense of community, and you have to have a sense of connection. But on the other side of things, from an individual standpoint, psychologically, if you want to be better with your mental health, you need community and you need connection as well. You have to have community and you have to have connection. And I think both of us have a lot of different people that we know that played at the college level, played at the pro level, guys that we know that same thing, like you have everything in the world monetarily, that should make you happy, but feel very lonely, and feel like they don't have, and they might even have a family, right? They might even have kids, and on paper, it looks like a perfect life, but they don't have that shared sense of purpose and vision and community like that, which you get just organically as a high level hockey player. And so, yeah, I think about community and I think about connection a lot. And I think to be able to be the best version of yourself and to be able to be the best version of a group or a team, you have to have those two sets of things. And so what can you do to help create that? And that's where I think your post, it moved me so much, is because you're telling, you got to go find it. Like, it's not something that's just you're going to snap your fingers, then all of a sudden I'm going to have that. Like, you got to kind of work to find that, because what came so easy to you, just by sheer happenstance of being an athlete, now you got to go find that somewhere else. Right. And so I absolutely love that post, and I think it's going to help a lot of people. And if it motivates one person who feels a little bit lonely, and loneliness, like, let's talk about brass tacks here. Loneliness kills more people than smoking does. Like, if it helps one person get out of that and be able to find that tribe and kind of feel whole again, dude, like, that's an incredible thing.
Well, it's like you said, when you're an athlete, doesn't matter the sport, like, you're given that, like, that's just like built in. If you're on a team, like, every day you're going to, and the locker room is the locker room, but it's also the team metaphorically, and what being on a team sport athlete gives you, that you just have to do every day. And so, like, when you're in the real world, it's not that you're not giving it's not given to you, so like you've got to seek that, whether that's seeking out the right new career opportunity, job opportunity, or joining a softball league in the summer, joining a book club, like something that you're meeting regularly and you've got to do things for, and you're being held accountable, all those things. It's really, really important. And again, like I personally known so many players that have struggled with that transition.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest, two of the biggest things are they stop exercising vigorously daily. And I think that has a massive negative effect on your brain chemistry, and body and confidence and all these things. And then the other part is you've got to find that new locker room, whatever that means. Get out there and find it.
And the right locker room. Don't just pick any locker room, because there's a lot of crap.
Sit at a bar every day and like call that your locker room. Right? Not what we're talking about here, guys.
Yeah, 100%, man. All right, time's up. Share the show. Great stuff, Vex.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.